In the dark world of motorcycle clubs, Dayne Brajkovich's name is known for stirring both fear and fascination. A former powerhouse in the Hells Angels, Brajkovich's rule was marked by violence and disorder. Brajkovich has quite a history with Bikie gang violence and criminal activities. But what happens when the hunter becomes the prey? How did Dayne Brajkovich shift from being a key member of the feared Hells Angels to finding himself the target of a brutal attack? What led to the dangerous confrontation that put Brajkovich's life at risk, and who was behind the assault? We are here to reveal it all. So, stay tuned. In December 2023, chaos erupted at a Ministry of Sound concert in Perth, Australia. Dayne Brajkovich, once the Sergeant-at-Arms for the Hells Angels, was at the heart of a violent incident during a concert at Kings Park and Botanic Gardens in Perth, which is quite predictable. This time, however, Dayne Brajkovich was the victim. The violent clash happened around 9:50 p.m. as people were leaving the concert. But first, let's take a step back and explore the fascinating life of Dayne Brajkovich, a man whose story is like a thrilling crime novel. Known across Australia for his extensive tattoos, Dayne Brajkovich is the country's most inked biker. His body is a living canvas that tells the story of his life, passions, and ties to motorcycle clubs. His tattoos became so infamous that they pushed him into the spotlight during the Western Australian government's crackdown on biker clubs. Law enforcement singled out Dayne as they pushed for controversial laws to ban the public display of biker symbols. Brajkovich's descent into the criminal underworld started with his boxing career, where he gained attention after knocking out Nick Cara in the second round. His life took a darker turn when he was arrested for selling ecstasy in 2009, resulting in a 2-year prison sentence. Despite facing numerous challenges, including being shot and living with a bullet lodged in his left leg, Brajkovich remained tight-lipped and refused to help police investigations. He admitted to using steroids in his youth, eventually becoming a heavily tattooed and muscular enforcer. In 2020, Brajkovich was fined $800 for a violent public brawl with the late Rebels gang leader, Nick Martin. Just 2 weeks before Martin was fatally shot, CCTV footage of Brajkovich repeatedly punching Martin gained significant attention. Brajkovich's lawyer, Patrick Gardner, explained in court that Brajkovich was having lunch at a bar when Nick Martin, who he called the other gentleman, came in. There was a brief verbal exchange. Gardner mentioned that Martin was quite large, 193 km tall and 120 kg, and that Brajkovich felt threatened, asking Martin to leave, which didn't happen. A second verbal exchange occurred, and feeling threatened, Brajkovich chose to fight. No one was seriously injured, but Brajkovich now understands the fight shouldn't have happened. He's seeing a psychologist and won't seek anger management counseling. Gardner added that Brajkovich will be banned from licensed premises. Magistrate Donna Webb noted the public would have found the fight frightening and mentioned that Brajkovich was convicted in June for causing fear by being armed or pretending to be armed in public. Given his immediate guilty plea, an $800 fine was deemed appropriate. Brajkovich was also ordered to pay $130 in court costs and made no comment as he left the court. The state government had also offered a $1 million reward for information, leading to the conviction of Martin's murderer. Then, in March 2021, former friend and Rebels biker Jason Kemp retaliated by shooting 6 bullets into Brajkovich's car outside his former home, where his wife and her 9-year-old daughter were present. Police reported that around 5 or 6 shots were fired at Dayne Brajkovich's house. Brajkovich, a member of the Hells Angels, had previously attacked Martin before Martin's murder. The shots were fired at his Ascot home around 7:15 p.m. But fortunately, no one was injured. Police Commissioner Chris Dawson mentioned that forensics were investigating the scene, confirming that at least 5 or 6 shots were fired. At the time of the shooting, there were 3 people in the house and a vehicle arriving at the address. Detectives believed that a black Porsche, stolen from Applecross in February, was involved in the shooting. Shortly after, a burnt-out Porsche was found in High Wycombe. Police asked for anyone who saw the vehicle with WA registration WMP 888 between February 21 and March 2 to contact Crime Stoppers. They were also looking for any CCTV or dashcam footage from the Sedgeland Way area of Ascot between 5:30 p.m. and 8:00 p.m. on the day of the incident. Despite numerous setbacks, Brajkovich gained recognition for successfully challenging Western Australia's anti-insignia laws. In January 2023, Dayne Brajkovich managed to successfully challenge Western Australia's anti-insignia laws, which were put in place to ban the display of outlaw motorcycle gang symbols. This challenge stemmed from an incident in 2022 when Brajkovich was charged for allegedly wearing a Hells Angels singlet and showing off his gang tattoos in public. When the case went to court, Brajkovich was found not guilty. The magistrate's decision was based on the fact that the prosecution couldn't prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Brajkovich was the individual seen in the CCTV footage. Additionally, the footage that was supposed to show his tattoos wasn't clear enough to determine if they were visible at all. This ruling was quite significant as it marked a legal milestone. Brajkovich became the first person in the past year to successfully fight against the insignia charges in Western Australia. This came right after he was kicked out of the Hells Angels following a violent altercation with senior members. In March 2023, he was back in the spotlight when it was revealed that the Perth Mint had poor financial oversight. In June 2022, he used a debit card to buy $27,000 worth of gold, which led to increased scrutiny of the Mint's financial practices and a ban on his future gold purchases there. An investigation by Four Corners uncovered significant lapses in the compliance measures of the Perth Mint, a government-owned entity in Western Australia. These deficiencies could potentially cost taxpayers billions of dollars. The Perth Mint was legally obligated to perform thorough checks when selling gold to high-risk customers and to scrutinize the sources of their funds. However, these stringent procedures were not followed when Dayne Brajkovich, the former sergeant-at-arms of the Hells Angels motorcycle gang in WA, entered the Perth Mint gift shop in June last year to purchase gold. Brajkovich made headlines again when he attempted to sell his Hells Angels gear on Gumtree, defying the club's rules. His eventful life as a Western Australian biker keeps evolving, with every chapter bringing new twists and surprises. But everything changed after that. At 44, Brajkovich found himself the target of a brutal stabbing, leaving him with a severe neck wound. The altercation began as a confrontation with some men outside a concert venue and quickly turned violent. Witnesses provided vivid descriptions of the scene, recalling how Brajkovich was in shock, clutching his throat. Emergency responders, including police and paramedics, rushed to the location on Lovekin Drive. Brajkovich was swiftly taken to Royal Perth Hospital for emergency surgery due to the severity of his injuries. The gravity of the situation attracted gang crime detectives, Perth detectives, and state security officers, who remained at the scene well into the night, investigating the incident. A police helicopter circling above Kings Park underscored the seriousness of the event. The entire incident was a chaotic and tense situation, reflecting the dangerous nature of the confrontation and the urgency with which authorities responded. Eyewitnesses leaving the concert described a chaotic scene with at least 6 people involved in a brawl. Bystanders quickly rushed to help Brajkovich, who had a serious cut on the left side of his neck. During the struggle, he also injured a finger while trying to defend himself. His wife, Jacinta Hill, was there and witnessed the horrifying events unfold. Later, witnesses confirmed that Brajkovich's throat wasn't just stabbed, it was slit from behind, adding a disturbing and brutal layer to the incident. The scene was chaotic, with people screaming and trying to assist Brajkovich, while others were in shock at the violence they had just witnessed. This violent altercation not only left Brajkovich seriously injured, but also deeply affected those who saw it happen, especially his wife. The entire situation highlighted the dangerous and unpredictable nature of such violent confrontations, leaving a lasting impact on everyone involved. In a recent press conference, Detective Senior Sergeant Anthony Thompson from the Gang Crime Squad discussed the alarming incident. He suggested that the attack was likely targeted and possibly driven by revenge. The event involved members of the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club and a former member. Detective Thompson emphasized that such violent actions won't be tolerated and will have serious consequences. He also warned outlaw motorcycle clubs against using violence, stating that law enforcement would take all necessary measures to protect the public. However, this shocking incident leaves many questions unanswered. Why was Brajkovich targeted so violently? Was this attack really due to internal conflicts within the Hells Angels, as gang crime detectives suggest? What impact will this have on Brajkovich's reputation and his connections in the criminal underworld? Additionally, what steps will law enforcement take to ensure public safety, especially during large events like concerts? Will there be increased security measures to prevent similar incidents in the future? The attack on Brajkovich, once a feared figure in the biker community, highlighted the dangers of such a lifestyle. Despite his notorious past, the brutal assault made him seem more vulnerable, sparking debates about justice, retribution, and the cycle of violence in the criminal underworld. Police and detectives are asking the public for any photos, videos, or eyewitness accounts of a recent incident. Witnesses saw a group of about 6 people escaping on motorcycles from Kings Park, leaving chaos and fear behind. The police acknowledged that a quick-thinking doctor prevented a tragic outcome, but haven't confirmed if it was a murder attempt or provided details about the weapon, only noting it was small and sharp. The day after the attack, photos of Dayne Brajkovich surfaced, showing him leaving the hospital with his wife, bandaged but recovering. When asked about the incident, Brajkovich was tight-lipped, saying only, "I asked for it and I got it." That's the game. He appeared surprised by the attack, initially thinking he was more seriously injured than he was. He provided no further details about the event. In response to this incident, the Western Australian police acted swiftly to address the situation. Overnight, police searched multiple properties across the Perth metropolitan area with help from various units, including the Gang Crime Squad, Rapid Apprehension Squad, Drug and Firearms Squad, Regional Operations Group, and Tactical Response Group. These efforts resulted in the seizure of 3 motorcycles and the arrest of 5 people. One of the arrested individuals faced charges related to drugs and firearms. A notable arrest occurred on December 9 at around 5:20 p.m. in a suburban area. Officers visited a house and arrested a 46-year-old man linked to the Hells Angels. During the search, they found a loaded gun hidden in a couch, along with ammunition. They also discovered drugs, including cocaine, methamphetamine, steroids, and prescription medications. The arrested individuals appeared in court, facing charges for their roles in these illegal activities. The attack on Dayne Brajkovich, once a dominant figure in the biker community, underscores the perilous nature of such a lifestyle. Despite his notorious past, this brutal assault has shown him in a more vulnerable light, sparking debates about justice, retribution, and the relentless cycle of violence within the criminal underworld. We want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on this violent attack and the broader issues it raises? Do you think law enforcement is doing enough to combat gang violence? Share your comments below and let us know what you think. And don't forget to subscribe to stay updated on this story and more.